Yo, yo. Big up Ypre where you dep on Wagwan up top. You don't know how it go. We're back here again. Clinical, the Jamaican citizen. You don't know how it go. Big up Etihad all the time, always. Yo, 2 days ago, Manchester City played Arsenal Football Club at the Etihad Stadium, and trust me, whoa, that scared the hell out of me. And trust me, that was a spectacle. And to this, like 2 days later, almost 48 hours later, me still not get over it. Like, I'm still here buzzing. Like, I absolutely cannot believe the football that I saw on display. And I told you guys as well in my preview stream just before the game. I said, yo, especially the Blues, be confident. And the stream I did before that, I'm pretty sure I said also Arsenal fans should be worried. Not that you can't be confident, but you 100% have reason to be worried. Look how we are playing. Even before that Arsenal game, look how our recent run of games were. Before that, we just came off a 3-0 win against Sheffield United, got into the FA Cup final for this year, yeah. First ever Manchester Derby in an FA Cup final, by the way. So the team knew that coming off the pitch, I would like to believe. Bayern Munich away, brilliant performance there. Scoreline flattered Bayern Munich in my opinion. They had, I think, majority of the possession of the ball, but still struggled to break us down because we were defensively solid and compact. And we did score the first goal. I think their penalty was really shaky. So that's neither here nor there. We'll take it either ways, but I do think we deserved a win at the Allianz Arena. Just saying. Then before that, Leicester at home, short work of them, put them away, made early subs. Like, the momentum that our team has right now, just trickling forward game after game after game. And that will be important, seeing that our next run of games are every 3 days. So after this game, we have, starting Sunday that is, on Sunday, 2 days from now, we have Fulham away. Then 3 days after that, I think we have West Ham at home, and then 3 days after that we have Leeds at home again, I believe. I'm not entirely sure if I don't think I think we went to Elland Road already. I'm not entirely sure about that though. But 3 days back to back, and then Real Madrid first leg of the Champions League in the Bernabeu. I hope that this momentum continues to trickle forward, but to be honest, I'm confident. Why am I confident? I do not see a reason to be worried. My team is not showing me a reason for me to not have faith in my team. And speaking of faith, there are two things in this title I want to speak on before anything else. You understand? But first and foremost, importantly, please drop a like on the video, because we're about to really go into this performance now. And I'm not sure how many games of FIFA will actually get to play for this one, because I have a long list of notes that I really want to get into regarding this game against Arsenal, and there are some stuff I want to touch on as well. So don't forget to drop a like on the video, and we're still 5 subscribers off of 50, which is my next personal milestone. So please do help me get to 50 subscribers. I would really very much appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed already and you're a silent viewer, then I think I implore you to make that step into subscription and join the community. Understand? And continue to like the video, because other people who might want to join the community will have an opportunity to see my video pop up on their page. So you'd be helping me out either way. And leave me a comment as well, because that also helps other people to see it if YouTube realizes that a lot of people are interacting. So definitely help me out. I reply to every comments and all of that. But let's get back into the game. The first thing I want to speak on is put some respect. Put some respect pan the Etihad. I'm tired for tell rival fans for put some respect pan Fortress Etihad. So many times, especially Big Six teams, I hear their fans having a trip to the Etihad saying, oh yeah, we're coming to beat Manchester City here. Alright, be confident in your club, but these same teams go to Anfield and be like, oh, you know, Anfield is a difficult ground and you know, we're lucky for a draw here. But you expect to win at Etihad though. So where's that same chest for Anfield? And I'm not saying Etihad is on the same level as Anfield, but to respectfully to a team like Arsenal, it is. I heard an Arsenal fan say, but Etihad isn't Anfield. It's Anfield to you. What do you mean? It is Anfield to you. When is the last time you beat us at the Etihad Stadium? In the Premier League. I can't tell you when. 2015. When is the last time you get a point at the Etihad Stadium in the Premier League? I can't tell you that too. 2016. So why you feel like, say, in a 2023, after we just beat Bayern in a Champions League quarter-final, then, you know, everybody always talk about relegation threatened teams. They always come to fight. They put their life on the line for even a point. Like, any point is good for them. Fair enough. I agree with that. But yet still, we played two of them this month. We played Leicester City and we played Southampton. And we beat both of them. Leicester City came to the Etihad and we beat them. Southampton came to us and we beat them away. I mean, we went to Southampton and we beat them away. So the momentum that my team has coming into this game, keep in mind, like I said, brilliant performance against Bayern Munich after that Leicester game. Semi-final of the FA Cup after beating Sheffield 3-0. Second in the Championship. Promoted to the Premier League now, by the way. Just saying, big up to Sheffield United, yeah? Because that was also a good game from them. Not because the scoreline definitely didn't. I think they could have easily gotten something out of that game. Don't look at the fact that we put 3 past them and they didn't score against us. They definitely could have gotten something out of that game, at least a goal or two. Because they had a few chances that had me looking at Ortega like, hey, you doing your job. Because if you were not focused, Sheffield United could have gotten a goal, but I'm derailing. Back to the topic at hand. Arsenal played the same Southampton that we beat at their home ground at the Emirates and drew 3-3 after being 2-0 down in 15 minutes. That was their last game before they came to the Etihad. Which Etihad? The one that they don't win at for almost 10 years now. Yeah, that Etihad Stadium there. And then, on top of that, what them play before? Them go West Ham away. Yeah. London, I'm not sure if West Ham is in North London, but London Derby. And them draw 2-2 after being 2-0 up in 10 minutes. So they're battling Leeds. And they're getting beaten by, or battered by relegation threatened teams. And then before that, 2-0 up at Anfield. Yo, if Manchester City, especially in a title race, find themselves 2-0 up at Anfield, I definitely believe that we would win that game. I do not see us. Maybe if it's like earlier in the season, like the one that we had at the start of this season where we lost 1-0 to them. Maybe if we were 2-0 up in that game in the first half, maybe we'll come back and draw it. Because you could say, you know, Liverpool come out stronger in the second half and all that. And that game against Liverpool and Arsenal, I think that was a game of 2 halves. Like, Arsenal was definitely far and away the better team in the first half. And in the second half, Liverpool were far and away the better team, in my opinion. So that was a game of 2 halves. But I do believe that if we had played them and we were 2-0 up, we would have definitely gone for win that game. And we would have definitely scored again in the second half with them pressing up so high. But hey, that's neither here nor there. That's all hypotheticals. But look at the form that they're coming into this game with and the form that we're coming into this game. Coupled with the fact that you do not win at our stadium. So where is all this false confidence coming from? Which brings me to the second point of my rant. You know? Faith versus hope. This title race from earlier in the season, I've heard Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. You know, we're going to beat City at the Emirates. We're going to beat City in the FA Cup, and we're gonna rotate. And after that, we're gonna beat City at the Etihad for the first time in 8 years." Blah blah. They were on a high when they said that. I hear that because when you're winning football games, you feel that confidence. So I'm not going to say, hey, don't be so confident in your team. That would be silly of me to even suggest that they shouldn't be. So fair enough. You're confident in your side, do your thing, right? But you could hear it in the Arsenal fans' voices like it's more hope than faith. Like they don't think that they're going to win the title race. They hope that they're going to win the title race. Because they never saw themselves being in this position in the first place. So now that they are in this position, what's in their mind is, you know what? I really hope that we do not mess this up. I don't have a reason to think that we'll mess this up, because if you think about it, they've been on a long win/unbeaten streak from the start of the season or earlier in the season, right? So they wouldn't feel too like gut trenching that they're going to mess it up. But they have messed up stuff in the past, like top four and other title races in the past. So you could also argue that Arsenal fans have that in the back of their mind that we're also going against Manchester City. They can put a string of good performances together, especially in the title running end of the season like they usually do. So they have that reason to be somewhat nervous. So Arsenal fans saying in December and November and January that they're going to win the league, to me it sounded more like hope than faith. Whereas inversely, Manchester City fans let me not speak for all Manchester City fans. I speak for me. I can't speak for all Manchester City fans. But me personally, I 100% had faith in this team from before even a ball was kicked that we would be winning this Premier League title. Maybe it's arrogant for me to think like that, but again, Manchester City from Pep Guardiola has gotten his players in after that 2016 season. So the start of the 2017 season when he got his core players that he wanted to build his play style and team around, I had full faith in this man that he would bring us gloriful days. And coming off of a season where we just won the league and done a second back-to-back in 5 years, yeah? Why would I not believe that after signing Erling Haaland, signing Calvin Phillips as a good backup option for Rodri, signing Akanji from Dortmund, which, to be honest, I didn't think he was great. I thought he was a good player and a good addition to our squad. After signing, who was it we signed in the summer? We signed Sergio Gomez, who is a good prospect. That's what I saw him as at the time, a good prospect. I didn't think he would be an instant impact in our team. In my opinion, I thought we should have signed a starting left back and have Sergio Gomez as a backup left back option. But I had faith that Nathan Ake could make that left back spot his own. And who else did we sign? I think there's one other signing I'm missing from the summer. But yeah, Ortega. Yeah, Ortega was the last one, which I've heard good things about him. Never watched a game of him in my life before Manchester City, but I've heard very good things about him. Big up to whoever joined in, by the way. I saw when you came in. Don't think your support is lost on me. I definitely saw that. Please remember to hit that like button and also leave me a comment in the chat as well. I much appreciate you being here. But yeah, as a Manchester City fan coming into this season, I had so much faith in this team to do what needs to be done. Bad start to the season, I'm not worried. To be honest, we always have a bad start to the season. I think there's one season we didn't have a bad start to the season and won the league. All the other times, we had a relatively bad start to the season. So the start that we had, especially being like 4 points away from Arsenal for the majority of the year, or until the World Cup, or let me say until the January window opened, we were about 4 points off from them. So why would I then be worried and saying, oh, I don't know if we can win the league anymore? 4 points? I've seen my team cut down a much, much bigger gap than that from Liverpool. Why would I be fretting about 4 points from a young Arsenal team that's never done it before? Which brings me into my next point. These excuses from Arsenal fans are absolutely ridiculous. And in my opinion, they are sad. The excuses they're coming up with are sad. Because at the end of the day, when they were winning all their games, they didn't see anything wrong with their squad. They were saying, out of hope, that we are going to win the league. They were coming with the most disrespect. They were saying they're going to beat us and all this stuff, which I'm still waiting to see. They're not going to play us again this season. And they still haven't beat us this season. We haven't even done, we did the double over them and beat them in the FA Cup. But they had all this tough chat that they were coming to beat us and take our title from us. Yeah? But if Manchester City fans try to talk up our club, oh, we're disrespectful to the giant clubs like Manchester United and Arsenal and Liverpool, yeah? But it's fine if you just disrespect the title champions as a team that's challenging for the first time, yeah? You can just disrespect the current holders of the Premier League title, the current defending Premier League champions, and say you're coming to take our title from us. Why? Because you won titles 20 years ago? Bro, allow me. Allow me. And they're looking at their squad and saying, oh, you know, we can win the league because Odegaard is better than KDB, you know? Because we have Saliba and Gabriel, who is the best centre-back partnership in the league, you know? We have Bukayo Saka, who is better than Phil Foden. Psych. Yeah. Psych. Bukayo Saka is amazing. He's a really, really talented footballer. But leave him out of the conversations with Phil Foden, yeah? Please and thanks. Please and thanks. Because one thing I'm going to say to kill this whole narrative about Saka being better than Phil Foden is rival fans love to say Manchester City needs to win the Champions League before we can be considered a big club, right? So how are Arsenal fans telling Manchester City fans that Saka is world class and better than Phil Foden when he doesn't even have one Champions League appearance, much less a goal or assist? Please explain that to me. And in the biggest game of their season, where I'm not saying the title is won or lost for them in this game, but this game, the winner of this game has major implications. Major implications on who would be favorites to go lift the Premier League title at the end of this season. Because of the advantage that you would be getting at this point in the season, seeing that there are 5 to 7 games to go. You know, we have 2 games in hand. 5 to 7 games to go until the end of the season where the trophy lift is done and all the armpits are in the air, yeah? So the winner of this game gets that advantage. We now cut their 5-point gap to 2 points. If they won, they would have moved that 5-point gap to 8 points, and we'd have 2 games in hand. Even if we won them, they would still be 2 points ahead of us, and we would be hoping that they drop points again. It would literally only be in their hands. So this is a massive, massive game. Where was Bukayo Saka? Look at this lineup on the screen. Manuel Akanji is playing left-sided centre-back as a right-footed centre-back. He drifts out to that left-back spot, and Stones will drop back into that centre-back spot when we are in defense. So Akanji is fully playing out of position. I'm not sure if he played on the left side at any point in his time at Dortmund, but I do know that Dortmund played a back 5 while he was there, not necessarily a back 3, because in defensive situations, that Guerrero guy at left back would be dropping back to help him out there. In which case, Jack Grealish is coming from further up the pitch to come back and help him. So in transition moments, he is by himself with Bukayo Saka. Yeah? And Saka did nothing to worry Manuel Akanji in that unfavored position that he was put in. Nothing to worry him. I thought Manuel Akanji completely had him under control. And then he gets hooked along with the rest of the Arsenal front 3. Because Gabriel Jesus, who also didn't really do anything in the match, big up to Jesus by the way, still my general, got hooked as well. Martinelli, bad boy Martinelli, very good baller as well, also got hooked. Erdegaard, club captain, again, good footballer. Do not compare this man to Kevin De Bruyne. Stop disrespecting my baller them. Stop disrespecting Manchester City football players by giving premature comparisons to players who are not ready to be put on that level as yet. Stop disrespecting proven players just because them play for Manchester City. I am sick and tired of seeing rival fans do that. But it's fine, right? Because we are a small club. Alright, cool. We'll take the trophies still. But anyways, moving on. After 15, let's not even go into the actual match as yet. Let's go back to the excuses that Arsenal fans are having, yeah? Know that their title race is in that shaky period, 3 draws back to back and a loss. So 4 games without a win, 11 goals conceded in their last 4 games, yeah? Their defense is completely out of it right now. Saliba looking like he's out for the season, and one of their toughest runs of the season coming up. They have Chelsea next. After that, they have Newcastle away, and then after that, they have Brighton at home, as well as the Chelsea game is at home. So this looks like a do or die moment for them, where if they do not start to get something out of this season, then the title race will be lost on them. And I do think City will drop more points, but I do think they'll drop more points as well. But, we still have a job to do. We need to get our work done, and I think we will get it done. Now, fast forward to their title race falling off. If you listen to what Arsenal fans are saying now, it's, we don't have the squad for this. Manchester City just have top players on their bench, and how can we compete with them? City were always expected to win the league, and top 4 was always the aim. We're overachieving right now, and we have the youngest team in the league and the youngest manager in the league, and all of that foolishness. Where was all of this at the start of the season when Manchester City fans and other rival fans were telling Arsenal fans that they need to calm down? Yeah? Where was this 1 game at a time mentality and see where we end up at the end of the season? Why were t-shirts being printed 14 games into the season with Arsenal at the top of the league? Why are they planning trophy parades and all of that if they know that they did not have the squad for this? And Manchester City had this amazing squad. I was even watching an Arsenal watch along, an Arsenal fan watch along. Big up Troops, by the way. And he basically before the game was looking at the lineups, and he looked at the bench and he said, Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez, and Alvarez. We basically have 3 players to sub on to affect the game. 3 players to sub on to affect the game. Where is this world-class bench that people are talking about? Why we only have 3 attacking players as options that can come on and affect the game? Because based on how rival fans talk, we should have 6, 7, 8 attacking options off the bench who are also world class and cost 100 million like Jack Grealish, because apparently this is what Manchester City is. So where is it? People have told me this season that the hunger and determination that Arsenal have for not winning the league in 20 years would be stronger than the know-how and experience that Manchester City has from winning the league 4 times in the last 5 years. But now the entire narrative shifts and all the excuses come flowing out the moment things start to go wrong for them, and I just completely disagree with that. It's just absolute rubbish, and it's like a cop-out as a matter of fact. Like, they want to play both sides so bad, like, we are the best, we're doing this, we deserve this, we're clearly the best, no one can compete with us, we are him, all of that. But the moment it doesn't work, we were never meant to be in this position, I always knew we weren't good enough, we were never serious about the trophy stuff, the t-shirts were fake apparently. Nah, don't give me that foolishness. Do not give me that foolishness. Now, if I actually got into the game now, I think the game ended on basically equal possession, where I think we had 52% and they had 48% by the end of the game. At 15 minutes in the game, though, when we were 1-0 up, we had 34% possession of the ball. Arsenal had 66% possession of the ball. What were they doing with it? And similarly, at the Emirates game, they scored one goal, which was a penalty, which I think was undeserved. I think Ederson is very hard done by that penalty decision every single time I watch it over. My opinion has not changed on it. But yet still, they got it, they scored it, and that was the only goal them scored. We scored 3 goals from, I think, 5 shots at most on target. And we scored 3 goals out of them. That's clinical up. That is efficiency. And that is Manchester City in a title race. As much as we wasted chances yesterday. The end result was 4-1. But to be honest, that could have been 7-1. That could have been 8-1. Like, Haaland could have literally have a first half hat-trick, and that is not an exaggeration. And that first half, not even a first half, that game reminded me of the first leg of the semi-final against Real Madrid at the Etihad Stadium last season, where we had so many chances to batter them and put them away, but we left the game 4-3. And I had that thought in the back of my mind, yes, I do have faith in this team to go and win again at the Bernabeu and get us to another Champions League final, like consecutive Champions League finals. But I do have that thought in the back of my mind that this is Real Madrid. It's not going to be easy. We're in their home ground for the second leg. They know it's do or die. Their fans know it's do or die. And I feel like the atmosphere from the Bernabeu could genuinely come out and engulf us. I just had faith that we would be able to handle it. But at the end of the day, you see all of those missed chances in the first leg, and you're looking at it and thinking, you know what, this is not good. We need to score more goals. We need a bigger gap. And what I'm very glad about is that our defense in this game was way ahead of our defense in that Real Madrid game last season. And by the way, that Rob Holding goal that they had for the consolation, that was a really good goal. I don't even think I blame Ederson for that. Maybe I need to watch it again, but from what I remember seeing, I don't blame Ederson for that. I think that was a good run from Trossard to get into the box. I don't think the defenders could have done much more to stop him, because we could risk giving away a penalty. And him getting that ball off the Holding, who took it first time, I think there were players also blocking the line of sight of Ederson. I think he took that really, really well to tuck that away for 3-1. So I hold my hands up and say, you know what? I'm not looking at City and saying we should have done better there per se. Yeah, we probably could have if I'm nitpicking. And I'm also not saying that Arsenal didn't deserve that goal, because I think they took it really well. It's just one of them things there in a football, and it happens. Now, I've also seen Arsenal fans complaining about referee decisions in that game, in which it's completely ridiculous to hear this from them, because if you look at it, I think me and other City fans would agree that the ref was favoring Arsenal. You have Ben White, there was the same challenge that Diaz got booked for, where he kicked out and caught Ben White at the corner flag. Ben White turned around, pushed him, started a fight, and only Diaz got booked for the foul. I thought when players started fighting on the pitch, 2 yellow cards get thrown out. And after that, Arsenal fans, I think not Arsenal fans, sorry, players, I think it was Saka, started a fight again at halftime, because he was rattled, because he was getting pocketed by Akanji. So he started a fight, and that was halftime, yeah, but again, nothing happened. Then, third, Grealish and Partey started fighting. 3 fights now, all caused by Arsenal players, by the way. When I say caused, I mean they turned around and made the first move. Partey did the same thing after Grealish took the ball from him, or was roughing him up and bodying him off the ball. He got up and tried to fight Grealish, and Grealish said, "Hey boy, man, we are the youth." You understand? So, no, that was the only situation where an Arsenal player got carded. And I saw several fouls before and after all of these moments that I'm mentioning. But they only got 1 card for the entire game. I've seen Partey foul man back to back 3 times in the middle of the game. And he even gave away the same foul that was the free kick that John Stone scored from. And he got no yellow card for that. But Arsenal fans are saying that, they should have had more from the ref. They should have had a penalty shout. We should have gotten a red card. We got favored by the ref. Absolute foolishness. Foolishness. I don't want to hear it. It's just excuses because you lose. Accept your loss. Now, players that I think I want to give a shout out to this match, like Haaland, Badman, you are a revelation to this team. You are an absolute revelation. I made mention of that Real Madrid first leg match. If you were there, I think we would have a Champions League in the bag by now. Last season, I'm not even saying get into the final. I think we would have a Champions League in the bag from last season. And I think we would have won that Premier League title by so much more than just 1 point. I think we probably hit 100 points again last season. Because the amount of, there are so many games you could look at as games that we created so many chances and didn't put the ball away. Like even when we played Liverpool at home, just before the end of the season, when we had Atletico Madrid, Liverpool. Like we didn't have to drop out of the FA Cup to Liverpool in that last game of the 4. And in that game where we went 2-2 at Etihad, we had a bunch of chances. I'd say 3 or 4 chances that we failed to put to bed, including a Riyad Mahrez chance at the end of the game. It was Haaland and that. This version of Haaland, especially if you let him here down, that's bugs every single time. Then, you have that Crystal Palace game where we played at Selhurst Park, 0-0. We created so many chances. The ball was literally rolling so slowly right across the goal line. Nobody there to hit it. Nobody near the box. Needless to say, if we had even Alvarez, that's goals, that's bags. So, I'm just saying, like, this guy, if he deserves all the respect he's getting. And if, by so help me God, we get the treble this season, this man 100% deserves the Ballon d'Or, Erling Haaland. Remember me tell you. And Manchester City fans need to run riot if we win the treble and him don't get the Ballon d'Or. Furthermore, he didn't score and he broke the goal record. So big up to him for actually getting the most Premier League goals in a season. And he now should be recognized as the most prolific goal scorer the Premier League has ever seen. Especially with the fact that there are 7 more league games to go. He will play more games and he needs 2 more goals to get the overall record for a even 42 game season. And I genuinely believe he'll get that. Let's be real. 7 games, 2 goals for Haaland. You have to see that as possible. Big up to whoever just joined in, by the way. I appreciate your support and I really appreciate also if you could like and subscribe and also drop me a comment. I'm not sure how many matches we'll get to this stream, but I do want to talk about this Manchester City and Arsenal game. Next player I want to give a shout out to is obviously the man for all the big occasions, Kevin De Bruyne. 2 brilliant, well-taken goals, and he could have had a third, courtesy of another first half strike. If he had scored that, that's the one where he had it on the right side, and then he tried to cut across and go on the left. But I think it hit off Gabriel and fell over on his left foot. But by that deflection, it got Ben White the time that he needed to come back and make the block, which was a very, very good block from Ben White. Because Ramsdale, if he had shot that ball and it passed the defenders, Ramsdale is not saving that. And that's 2-0, like 20 something minutes into the game. So, who knows what the scoreline could be then at that point. Next, John Stones, absolute Rolls Royce of a defender. And to how this guy is moving further up the pitch, we might need to take Rodri out of these conversations with Partey and put Stones in his place, because we cannot be still comparing Rodri to Partey, right? Like, we're not still doing that, right? I think there's a closer debate with Partey and John Stones in that midfield area, to be fair. A little bit tongue-in-cheek, but, I'm just saying. Grealish, I think he had a fairly quiet game. in relation to what I've mainly seen from him this season, especially after the World Cup. I think this was one of his more quiet games. But that block on Saka, where he was trying to go around Akanji and then Grealish just came back, took the ball off him and made that play, that's not lost on me. That is definitely not lost on me. Rodri, this guy, consistent 8 out of 10. Consistent 8 out of 10, and it only goes up. It only goes up from there. There is only one game I can remember against Spurs where he had what I would say as less than an 8 out of 10. But aside from that, this man deserves him respect. This man deserves him respect as the best defensive midfielder in the league. Casemiro conversations, I'll have them. I'll have them. I don't want to hear no Thomas Partey conversations though. But Casemiro conversations, we'll have them. We'll have the debate. But for me personally, I think Rodri takes it. Akanji, I think Akanji was absolutely amazing. I was not like after that first half, I was not even worried about Saka coming back into the game. Because what Akanji showed out, he was what I was most worried about going into the game because I expected Laporte to play. Obviously, Laporte has been one of our best centre backs over the years, especially after Vincent Kompany left. He was our best centre back from that point until we got Ruben Dias, in my opinion. Because when Ruben Dias came in, ooh, man. Let's not even get back to the Ruben Dias debut season. Let's save that conversation for another day. But Akanji against Saka was like hand to pocket. That was Saka to Akanji, hand to pocket, because he was just in there, and Akanji had a brilliant. He even was dribbling through the Arsenal midfield. Are you mad? Like linking up with Jack Grealish just outside of the box and getting a cross into the box. Are you mad? And again, do you think that Rodri would have a centre back waltzing past him in the midfield like that, going into the box? But he just went right through Partey and Xhaka like it was nothing. Like Akanji deserves his respect, and I even see City fans still like doubting. I won't even say disrespecting Akanji, but doubting him and saying he's not good enough. They're worried about him playing. I have long past that point. At Dortmund, I always saw him as a player with that Bozo gene. Like he has good ability, but he is prone to mistakes. But at City, I don't think I've ever, and I'm knocking on wood for this, but I don't think I've ever seen a situation this season in a match where at the end of the game I'm like, boy, Akanji, you cost us the game today. That performance you put down cost us the game today. I can't, because he's absolutely been consistent this season at a good level. Not our best centre back in majority of our games, but consistent, yes, especially when he's playing to Ruben Dias. Because us City fans will remember his start to the season was amazing. And he started off playing right-sided centre-back next to Ruben Dias. And I feel like that basically was reminiscent of the Dias-Stones partnership, even though I do prefer the Dias-Stones partnership. But I do think that he had that similar vibe to where Dias was bringing the best out of Akanji and allowing his best qualities to shine. And we were winning games as a result of that. And our defensive record was really good when Akanji just stepped into the side. But big up Akanji, trust me, you definitely get your flowers from me. You have had a great season so far. Above what I had expected for you, even though I had expected you to do good based on the role you would have played. I didn't even see you playing this many games when we signed you. 15 million, absolute steal, amazing business. If that was any other Big Six team, that would be in the media every single day. I won't ask Christ about that. I know that for a fact. So that would be in the media every day. And the last player I want to give a shout out to. Keep in mind, I think all of our players were great, but the specific ones I want to give the shout out to are the ones I mentioned now. Kyle Walker. Again, I wouldn't necessarily say that Akanji wasn't expected to start, but I think most City fans would have expected, or me at least, expected Laporte on the left, Dias in the center, Akanji on the right. So seeing Walker start told me that Laporte wouldn't be playing. because in this system, Walker doesn't usually play. And to be fair, I think the system that we played was more like a traditional 4-4-2, where Gundogan was actually next to Rodri in that DM area. Stones was dropping back into centre back, so Akanji was more left back than anything, and you would have had De Bruyne and Haaland up top playing off of each other, and that setup was not expected by Arteta. He did not have the answers for it during the first half, over the halftime period, and up to now, I still think he's scratching his head about how to stop this type of setup, because he 100% did not expect that. So again, brilliant masterclass from Pep Guardiola. But Kyle Walker, I think he handled Arsenal's top scorer this season very, very well. And he was defending both Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus, because anytime either one of them got on the ball, Walker was the one I would see stepping up. I think in some situations where Jesus had the ball, Walker went to him and Stones was dropping back and getting to like watching Martinelli. But otherwise, if they're playing it out wide, Walker would be the one going out to him and Stones drop back into centre back. So, Walker, he showed his experience in this game. Like, he has had an up and down season. He hasn't started a lot of games. People, like some rival fans even thought that he was so out of favour. His last start was in January. Nah, he actually started last game against Sheffield. And the last Premier League game we played against Leicester, he started that as well. So, and he played 90 minutes in both games. So he has had minutes fairly recently, which kind of suggests that Pep wanted him to be ready for this end of the season, knowing that we might need him. And again, man, Pep thinks of everything, because that call was absolutely brilliant. And in terms of playing Laporte, as much as I believe that I still wanted him to start, I think Pep made the right call. I think he made the exact right call that he needed to make to win this game, and how we executed was absolutely brilliant. Regarding the second goal that we scored, man, I thought that was offside, and it's so funny listening to Arsenal fans saying that, oh, that shouldn't have counted. They should have went in 1-0 or went into halftime 1-1. Are you mad? 1-1? Nah, it's a pipe dream based on what I saw. But sometimes seeing VAR be against us so often, it's so refreshing to see it actually play out in our favor for once. Like, looking back at that replay, like first of all, like, if that goal had not been given, I wouldn't have been like, oh nah, robbed, like Stones that should have gotten that. No, I would have been like, you know what, it did look offside and aside, fair enough, we move. We'll like 1-0 into halftime is still good. My 3-0 prediction is still strong based on how the course of the game is going. But looking at that replay, I think VAR made the right call. Like that toe from Ben White pushing out, that was the right call from them. And Stones had held his run perfectly. It's the pace that he came off of that run with that made it look like he was at offside. So, cry more, as Edison would say. Let's speak on the deer in headlight syndrome. That's what I saw from Arsenal in that match. Like, they did not have answers for how we were playing. So after we scored that first goal in 6 minutes, where KDB beat it from outside the box and it flew into the near post corner, I would see Arsenal pass the ball back to their back line, and they would just have the ball there. And like Haaland would just be standing in front of them like this. Like, do something. And they'd be there trying to invite the press and pull us out. But when you look at it, I think we set up really well in that regard, because we are already 1-0 up and we're playing at home. Like, previous Pep teams, I feel like we would be on them, like high pressing them, dogging them, like sending out Jesus and Sterling to like get on them and get the ball back so we can continue peppering them and keep the momentum going, which is good and all. But at the same time, like, we get more tired in that way. Instead, now we're watching them get more nervous on the ball, like, why are they not pressing us? Yo, we're wasting time right now. We're the ones 1-0 down. We need to go do something. So now they know that in this must-win game, they're 1-0 down. We're calm as a cucumber, not pressing them, not just watching them pass the ball amongst Gabriel and Zinchenko and back to Ramsdale, while knowing that the moment they take a step into that midfield area, then we go full press on them. That's when Haaland and Grealish and Bernardo Silva are released, and everybody just collapse on them and just suffocate them and force them either backwards to pass the ball amongst the centre backs again, either to force it long to try to get something up the field and hoof it, maybe kick it out the stands, or we win back the second ball, or we take it from them in that dangerous area just outside the box and go ahead and mount a transitional counter attack. Which I'll take all three of those options, especially at 1-0 down. I'll take all three of those options. So that was a brilliant setup from Pep Guardiola in this system. And another thing is the inverse was also true, because when we had the ball in our centre back area on top of our box, I think Jesus tried the same thing. Like, he was there watching us, and Diaz would just be there standing with the ball right in front of him, not moving, not forcing it, and he was just there waiting until it clicked for them, like, we're 1-0 down. Like, we can't be waiting on them to start playing out. Like, we can hold the ball there until minute 90 and leave the match 1-0. And then title race in our hands. Goal difference is not even in the question for Arsenal right now. It's just points. Because we're 13 goal difference goals against ahead of them right now. So goal difference isn't the most important thing for Arsenal fans right now. It wins, like getting more points on the board than we have. So they're there trying to play the smart game and wait for us to force the ball into the midfield so they can press us. And Diaz was just there, so calm, cool and collected, just waiting. And then the moment it clicked for Jesus and he started to press, then we started moving the ball around. Ping pong, ping, 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 ping. Tiki-taka football, and started creating even more chances. So that was definitely brilliant to see. And I loved every single minute of it. Now, an interesting point in the game is where, for me, that is where Arteta tried to change things up. That's when he was making his wholesale changes. I'm surprised I think this was 60 minutes. I'm surprised he took off Xhaka and put on Jorginho, because in my opinion, as much as talent-wise Partey is one of their best players, especially in that midfield area, I expected to see Partey come off and Xhaka stay on, because Xhaka was having a better game than Partey. And I think Partey was losing his head more than Xhaka was, which is fairly rare, but that's just how I saw it. So to see Partey stay on the field as long as he did, I think he played 90 minutes. I don't know what Arteta was thinking. Like, he just thought he would turn it on and say, you know what, F it, I'm Partey, I'm better than Rodri. Nah, that's not on. So that was a pretty weird decision to see him do that, but I guess it played out in a sense, because when was that? Yeah, we scored from Kevin De Bruyne around 55 minutes in. So when he made the changes at 60 minutes to move to that double pivot with Odegaard in the 10, we only scored one more goal after that point in the last 30 minutes of the game. And to be fair, that came in the last kick of the game as well. And they were the one who scored first after that point, even though we still had more chances than them in that after that point as well. So if you look at the raw stats, it did play out better for them. So I won't even say like that was not a smart decision from Arteta. I think that was fairly smart from him, like to change up. At least for me, if you're playing a system and it's clearly not working, you have to try to change something. Either you're gonna sub off some players and try to change that, or you're gonna sub off, or you're gonna change the system, maybe change to 3 in the back and put more players forward, knowing say, you know, we might concede even more goals, but we need to score more goals first and foremost. That's what we are worried about first. So put on 3 centre back, no more wing back who better going forward than defensively, and only have 2 or 1 good actual defenders left on the field. But put on 3 good centre backs, so like Gabriel, Ben White, and Kivior, and then keep Ben White or something. I mean, no, just something. Change it up and approach the game differently, because what you're doing clearly doesn't work. And I've heard people say Arteta didn't try to change the game. I don't think that is necessarily true, because him putting on Jorginho tells me that he did want to change the game, because Jorginho was not drifting upfield like an Erdegaard in that 8 to 10 role. I think he was sitting fairly deep, and his role was more of control, because we clearly had a lot more control of the game than they did. So I would argue and say that Arteta didn't change the game enough, but that he did try to change the game and adjust his system to approach the game slightly differently while keeping his same philosophy. Was it enough to win the game? No, it was not. So in my opinion, that was not good enough from Arteta. He needed to try to do something more. And maybe he didn't even have any extra options, but yeah, I don't care. I'm just blessed about the 3 points, to be honest. Um Another thing I forgot to mention regarding that injury thing with Arsenal fans, because they'll say, oh, Rob Holding cost us, he couldn't handle Haaland, Saliba would have done better. Like, first of all, we beat Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, their home ground, which they were saying, since that is the first game of the two, that is going to be better. Excuse me. That is going to be better for them, because after we beat them in the FA Cup, they're like, oh, but you come to Emirates, you have to do it again at the Emirates, and if you don't beat us at the Emirates, then it's all in our hands, and blah, blah, blah. But Saliba was playing, he was in his good vein of form, and we beat them with Saliba playing. He didn't have any answers. He didn't ask any different questions than Rob Holding or Gabriel did. And if you look at the raw stats, we only scored one more goal with him out. So realistically, what big difference would he have made on pitch, at the Etihad, on that pitch, to say that they would be winning this game or coming out with a draw? There is nothing guaranteed just because Saliba is playing. I get that he's your best centre back this season, and that is also arguable, because even while he was playing, Arsenal fans were saying that Gabriel is outperforming him at that point in time, and I saw it myself as well, and I agreed. So you, just because Saliba would be playing doesn't necessarily mean that you come out of that game with a win or a draw or any other result than a loss, really. And to the thing about, oh, we have this player injured and we have that player injured, and Saliba was out and Tomiyasu is out, he'd be playing over Rob Holding as the backup option, and this guy was here missing, and Xhaka was ill a couple weeks ago, so he's not back to his best and all of that. I didn't hear anybody, not even City fans, were making excuses at the start of the season or at the midway point through the season when we had our poor results. And by the way, there is apparently a stat that Manchester City have used the least amount of players this season of any Premier League team. So where is this massive squad that people are talking about? Again, Troops on his watch along for this game against Arsenal and Manchester City. You can go back to it, go watch it, subscribe to the man thing as well. He would say we have 3 players who can come off the bench and affect the game. Yeah? And I do, if unless I'm mistaken, I think all our attacking players are fit at the moment. So that's it. This is all we got in terms of what Pep willing to use, especially in attack race time. Like Cole Palmer, good talent. He's not coming on against Arsenal in a crucial game like this to change the game and give us a win, because he's not at that level as yet. He has a potential, but he is not at that level as yet. So if you actually look at it, earlier in the season when we were drawing with Everton and we were drawing with Nottingham Forest and we were losing to Spurs and all of that stuff, no one was saying, like, earlier in the season we had Stones injured and we had Diaz injured. Like, Stones was literally injured from the start of the season. Was it the start of the season? I know, yeah, I think he started the season injured, because a lot of our first couple games, Ake was playing centre back. Obviously, Cancelo was still here at the time. Ake was playing centre back, and he'd be playing either next to Akanji or next to Diaz. So we had no Stones and no Laporte, because Laporte was injured from the end of last season. No John Stones until a couple weeks before the World Cup, in which I think he came back injured from the World Cup as well. Yeah, Ruben Diaz got injured at the World Cup, so we didn't have him after the World Cup. Kyle Walker was injured at the start of the season because he was injured from last season as well, and fighting injuries to come back fit for this season and make it fit for the World Cup. So he was struggling with injuries at that point in time. Well, Phillips has been injured for the majority of this season, and that's part of the reason why I believe that he deserved to get more time. I don't know where I stand on Phillips right now, because clearly Pep doesn't trust him, so we might just need to bite the bullet and get back Lavia or something. But we'll see what happens at next season. I'm not fully giving up on him as yet, but he has been injured for the majority of the season. If he was fit for so I think it was August, September the latest, but I think it was August where we had this friendly game against Barcelona, 3-3 in the Camp Nou. Phillips got injured close to the end of that game, shoulder injury. Then he went to surgery, and he didn't come back from his surgery until maybe 1 or 2 weeks before the World Cup. Then he went to the World Cup, didn't play, so he came back to City fit but unfit. Because what? He was apparently overweight, as said by Pep Guardiola. Pep said he came back overweight, and he wasn't really he didn't have any minutes to fall back on and say, you know what, I'm match fit, so I can play games. So he hasn't been playing any football games, and he's reportedly match fit, as said by Pep Guardiola in his one of his interviews. So we had to play Rodri literally every single game. Every single game, we did not have an alternative option than playing Rodri. So that Phillips injury affected the majority of our early part of the season, but no excuses were thrown around by Manchester City fans to say this is why we had this poor run of form. And no rival fans cared to say, you know what, even though Manchester City isn't at their best, they do have some injuries to some important players, or players that definitely would be playing a part in this current system. Nah, all I was hearing is Man City are finished. This is not the City team of old. This is the worst City team in the last 5 years. This City team is not winning the league. This City team is not hungry. You know, like, that's all I was hearing. Oh, they should not sold Sterling and Jesus and Zinchenko, because look how they're performing now. This is all I was hearing. Nobody wanted to make up any excuses for us. So why am I going to now listen to these Arsenal fans' excuses for not winning this Premier League title? All me can say is hold that. You understand? Foden Foden literally injured earlier in the season with him leg injury, come back, do surgery, and out again, and just come back again. One less winger option. So from then we had to move Bernardo Silva, who is a midfielder, back out to the right wing, because we only had Grealish and Mahrez as winger options, and they were playing pretty much every game at that point in time because there was no Foden. Then Haaland had his share of injuries coming off of the last international break. So there's just so many things to look at. Ake is injured right now. Business end of the season, Nathan Ake is injured right now. But what? This is what champions do. Champions have players who will step up. They have that mentality. We know that Kyle Walker, even though he hasn't played the most minutes this season, has that mentality. He's done it before. He's been in this situation before. He has 4 Premier League titles and 9 trophies at Manchester City. So if we call on him to step into the game, he's going to come and fight like a warrior, because him know what it takes for win trophies and win titles, especially in this Pep Guardiola Manchester City team. This is the winning mentality that we have here, and it definitely needs some respect, because you know what? After fighting out Manchester City fans for all this time and saying, oh, with this and with that, and we're not good enough and we're not hungry, and say, like, even the charges that we are get, like, people are say we're guilty before proven innocent, like all of them thing here, saying, oh, we don't deserve all our way, like City fans I go from Grimsby Town and them match there to a play Champions League semi-finals against Real Madrid, saying we don't deserve all our we go through and reach where we reach right now just because we get fortunate with owners and have money we bring up on the same level as other big clubs in the world right now, because nobody now want to talk about Man U, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, um, um, Spurs. Nobody don't want to talk about the fact that them have billionaire owners too. Nobody. Burn must have billionaire owners too. But nobody wants to talk about that because it's not Manchester City, so it doesn't trend in the papers. And it's just so funny to listen to all of this because I know that at the end of the season, if by the grace of God we end up with a three-peat in the Premier League or a Champions League trophy or a treble, this Manchester City fan base will cause pandemonium because it will be payback for all that was said about this club. All the dirt that was thrown on our names, all of the disrespect we have received, all of the props that we have failed to receive from even neutrals. This Manchester City fan base will get their lick back and they will make their voices heard. And I think it will be in unison of the title of this video. Put some respect upon the Etihad. You understand? Last thing I'm going to say is I actually decided I'm going to end up play a match for this one. So I've got to tune in next time for go back to the Division 3 journey. We'll just get to Division 3 by the way. So big up that. Yeah. The last thing I'm going to say is if we make it to the Champions League final again, God please. If we get past Real Madrid and get to the Champions League final, you guys as rival fans better make sure, I'm looking at the camera. You guys as rival fans better make sure, say, I don't see a Poznan in that Champions League arena in Istanbul. Because if there is a Poznan in that Champions League stadium from the Manchester City fans, y'all go see it everywhere from me. Just remember me did say that, yeah? One last time for the road. Put some respect upon the Etihad. You understand? Until next time, my side.